Can I start?
Yes, sir.
You will introduce that first.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Today we have good morning to all the participants. Today we have our speaker is the renowned the industrialists as well as the academicians, Mr. Dasari Ramakrishna. He is basically an electrical engineer. Then after that. From the IIT Madras, and he started the company called Epotronics System Private Limited, which was established in the 1985, and with his leadership, lots of achievements has been achieved with this company, and it has already given more than the 50 different solutions for the particularly this domains, and all the solutions for the smart signaling and the smart cities and the smart buildings and industries has been taken up by this company. And not only to this one, presently the booming things, that is the IoT is also, lots of work has been going on with this, in this area of the IoT also with this company. And so it is a very great privilege for us to you to have in this webinar. This will give us not only as an entrepreneurship skill, as well as not only this one, you will give the depth of the technology which been happening, and I would like to also to share to all the participants that the company is not only going on the R&D side, they have also collaborated with the various academic institutes also, and with the Epotronics, the MTech in IoT also been already introduced in the JNTU Anantapur also. There is so it means that the company is working very hard with the R&D as well as the whatever the research things has been giving towards the academic side also. That's one of the greatness of our speaker. He is the founder and he is the business of this company, and all the solutions of the railway, smart signaling, smart display has been taken up, and the various, even the various traffic controls in the states of the Andhra Pradesh also has been introduced in the various junction have come across with. Sir, now let us start with your topics. So I invite our speaker to start his talks. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Good morning to all of you. I hope I am audible. Is it all right? My voice?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good morning to all of you. Today's topic is how to create value to the customer. All of us, whenever we are buying something, so the basic challenge is how to create a value to the customer. That all we know. We'll discuss this entire dimensions with all the technology. Yeah.
Sir, please share the screen.
Yeah, of course I have two screens. That's where the problem is. Okay. So the basic issue. Are you able to get the screen?
No, not sir.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Please share the screen, sir.
Not able to see the screen.
Yeah. So now it's coming, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about how to create the value. This is a key point for any successful entrepreneur or any engineer or any professional. So let me talk certain basics. Generally, what motivates us to do something? Always we all look for, one is directly we look for money. Whatever I am doing, whether I get more money or what this job or the business, whatever I do, how much money I get. This is what anybody looks into that. That's one dimension. The second dimension is sometimes people say that by doing that, you will get a great name. So do that and do the research or do the design or do the, maybe you spare money and give the things to the people so that you get more fame. Or otherwise somebody will work because of fear. Olden days, our parents used to say that if you don't do it well, you have to go and work in the field, which is going to be very hard and you don't have money and all that. So that type of fear also will be able to make us to motivate us to work and learn something and do something. Similarly, somebody works for how to get a power. That means if I do well, I will be able to get a control on a lot of people. I will be able to manage a lot of people. And so this is the 3-4 dimensions at which many people get motivated. So, but all these motivation factors, whatever people does, will not really do well when you are looking into the things. So what is that need to be there? So basically one has to work on the purpose. What is the purpose of that I am doing this activity? Why this activity is need to be done? What is the issue around that? What is the help or the whatever the benefits it's going to create to the society or the people, customers, or whoever is using that? So that is the first important dimension which we have to look into it. Second important dimension is a mastery. How you get more perfection in the activity which we are doing. Unless we don't get the mastery in the activity which we are doing, only knowing something from here and there, you may not be able to solve the problem more effectively. That means you are only listening to somebody or seeing from book and only imitating. That is not acceptable. That is you need to have thorough understanding of the what is happening, why it is happening, what is going to be the impact of that, how this is all working. All that mastery is a second dimension, which is most important. The third dimension is autonomy. That means, are we having our own thinking? That means something is written in the book or something is written by some noble orator or somebody, whether we are able to really understand that and believe it or not believe it. That means there is a logic in that. That means, are we able to agree that it is right, or just only because somebody said that I am following just blindly? So we need to have our own thinking, our own logic, our own understanding, and with that only we should be able to do the things. That is what is meaning of the autonomy. Today, the world is looking into the people who has going to work or the motivates with the dimension of the things doing with the purpose and mastery, autonomy. The people who are going to be successful is going to be the people who are going to work in these 3 dimensions, who will be able to work on the purpose and mastery and the autonomy. Now coming to the things, standard definition of what engineers need to do. So what is engineering? I'm not defining anything. It's a old definition, a long back definition. Apply mathematics, science and technology with the empirical evidence to solve the human needs and problems and improve quality of life. That is a build new or improve existing systems and devices and structures and even processes. This is all what is the activity of any engineer, which is a needed. When you go into the any of the definition of engineer, this is a major definition of the engineer. So what is that which we have to do? That means we should have a understanding of mathematics, science, and then all that has to be useful to the society. That means in a financial dimension also we have to look into that thing so that we'll be able to get a more useful thing to the society. So this is what is the definition of engineering. Now, who are the stakeholders of any industry? So when you want to start an industry or entrepreneur, so what is that? Every industry has a 5 stakeholders. That is a customer. The second is a suppliers who supplies the raw material. Third, people who are the people who implement the money and start the industry, that is called as shareholders. The next other important people is the employees. The fifth one is a government. So all these people looks for a different requirements. That means everybody's requirement is going to be different. So are we able to fulfill all the people's needs? That means everybody's need is going to be different. Customer wants value for money and he wants high quality, low cost, and then in time delivery and all that. So the other side, what supplier want? He want more business and better price. That means here, if you want to give it a more value to the customer, that means you can't give it the higher price to the supplier. Similarly, employees wants more pay. So this is all going to be opposite nature in the entire requirements of each individual. So what is that industry has to do is optimize all the 5 stakeholders and create more value so that we'll be able to safeguard all the 5 stakeholders interest. So this is what is a fundamentally industry has to look into it. That means that is a broadly the dimension at which any industry has, any successful industry will try to work on that. If it is a people, if you are want to avoid tax and sell at low price or otherwise make more money, give a low cost product to the customer or something, if you are doing that, that is not going to last for a longer period. So what is needed is we need to balance all the 5 stakeholders' interests and manage all the 5 stakeholders. That is the industry which can survive for a longer period. So we are all talking one thing, any society has to be successful, which we need to be create wealth. Wealth means, that means wealth is not money, be clear about that. That means if you are constructing a bridge is going to be wealth for that area, because with the bridge you will be able to move easily and do a lot of things. So this is what is a more important from the point of view of the things. That means all the wealth is not money of the individual, it is a societal wealth. That means if you are talking about all developed nations like America or even Europe, they have a lot of wealth. How? They have a lot of roads, lot of factories, a lot of things which creates useful thing to the society. That is all called wealth. So we have to, successful societies, that means the developed nations, will create more wealth to the nation. In the process, people make money, that's a different issue. But the most important is how to create wealth is a called a success of the nation. So that is in general, we are all talks about the GDP. The country's GDP, like India's GDP is a $2 trillion, or otherwise Europe, a small country's GDPs are 4 trillion, or Japan GDP may be around 7-8 trillion, or even America is almost about 20 trillion. So these are all, that means the country's wealth is more. That's what talks about the GDP. So how to create more GDP? That is value to customer. So how you create value to the customer? That is what is the real challenge of the any society. So how you create the value? Then there is a 2 ways. One is by doing the things with a productive way. Productive way means with a less effort, we'll be able to do more outcome. That means for that more outcome, what are the things which we do? That means whether you use better tools and better way of working, we're not wasting time, not wasting the resources, and not wasting the raw material. All that is the productive way of doing it. The second dimension is innovative way of doing this. Innovative means you will try to improve dimension, that is a new ideas, new creative ideas to bring new technologies or the new ideas and build new solutions so that you will be able to create a better value to the customer. This is a 2 ways that which you can create the value to the customer. Now for that, what is that is needed is, if you want to be innovative, you should be more knowledgeable, you should be creative. So that is one dimension of it. We'll discuss these dimensions little later. So similarly, if you want to be productive, you should have a more skills, how to do the things well, and you have better attitude. You have to think that I have to create value, then I will be successful. This is the mindset of the people, which how to work on that. That's where the successful people will have one dimension is they will have better mindset. The second dimension is their knowledge and ability to solve the problem in a more effective way. So this is what is. Now let us see what is value. We are talking about value. What is the value? Today in every business meetings, everybody is only talking about value. Olden days, the people used to talk about cost. They are able to talk about quality or the futures and all. Now there are too many futures, too many dimensions. That's where people are talking about a single term called value. Value means overall benefits divided by its lifetime ownership cost. That means when I am buying some cell phone, for example, by buying a cell phone, it's not one-time cost. That is maybe I buy an Apple phone by spending a lakh of rupee, but afterwards I have to spend money on repairs. I have to spend money on say GPRS, that is telecom companies rent, and then afterwards the good thing with the Apple is in its lifetime, almost maybe 5-6 years, all the softwares that fellow will give us freely. That means again lifetime ownership cost, this will be reduced and the benefits is increasing. Like that, you will have to look what is the value of any product or solution. The benefits are not going to be one, the benefits are going to be too many benefits is going to come because of the solutions which we are going to build. That's where how we have to create that value. Now, how to do that? So first thing is, when we want to create a value, first thing is you have to identify value. Where is that value? What type of product or solution? What is needed for the society? If you are able to identify the value, then the second thing is how you create the value. That means by using our technology or the knowledge or the various things, and by spending money, we create the value. Second, after creating the value, we have to deliver it the value. Suppose there is a good iPhone or something, but I am not able to use that iPhone, there is no use of that. So that means we have to create value and deliver the value. That means the user should be able to get that value and he should be get benefited because of that. That is the third part of it. The fourth part of it, by making a value in certain area, how you can scale up, maximize to the more and more numbers. That is where the fourth dimension. The fifth dimension is you have to continuously refine. That's where if you see Apple, continuously they upgrade their iOS and give more and more features continuously. That means they are refining the value, thereby we'll be able to get more and more benefits. So this, if you don't refine it, the other people will copy our thought process and they will duplicate that. End of the day, there will be competition and they will be able to sell. We cannot survive. That's where refinement is more important from the customer point of view or sustainability of the organization point of view. This is what is a value which today world everybody is talking about it. So this is what changes. So now, how to identify the benefits? So human intellect to creativity, that is where one of the process is design thinking. So by using a design thinking, are you able to understand what is that value which we are talking about it? There is a identifying the needs empathetically from the customer, various people, list down all the needs of the customers, and then define that all that into a few things, and then ideate the solution, and then prototype it and test it, and then build that. So this is one type of things which we can do it. Now today in the world, especially, I will talk about that little later, the data-driven decisions, that is especially with the digitization, the new ideas and with the data, we will be able to develop new solutions and new approaches coming. This is a second dimension, that is the industry 4 dimension is data-driven approach. So previous one is a conceptual approach, new one is a data-driven approach. Both are giving a different values, and this is what it is. So approach to the solution. First, understanding individual cause and effects. What is really what causes effect? Entire science talk about cause and effect. So understand the composite system behavior. That means if you want to find a solution to something, how multiple composite different theories come together and find a solution to that. Based on the scenario, synthesize on the solution, and end of the day, complexity of solution increases and tools available to get holistic picture also increases. For example, the same thing I will talk little more. All of us maybe know electricity. That means in that Ohm's law, that is Ohm's law talks about voltage equal to, in simple terms, current into resistance. That means what it happens, if you are passing a current to the resistor, the heat is getting generated. That means power is consumed, and that is a power consumed equal to I into voltage. That is the current into voltage. That means the power is generated. That what happens to that power? That is converted into the heat. Now, suppose I want to have a electric, say, water heater. That means if I have to have a water heater, that is one is which we are talking about Ohm's law. The second is how heat is getting distributed. That means how the heat from that element is going into the water and heating the water. That means what size of element we have to put it, what diameter has to be there. If you are putting thin diameter, then automatically the moment the current goes into that, automatically the entire resistor may blast. That means it will melt down and it will become a thin, and that means it will break. If you are putting more and more thick, again, how much resistance we are able to create. So we need to have an optimization of the size of the wire. Other side, how that the exposure to the water surface to the metal has to be looked into it. Unless they both are not going to be optimized for both the dimensions, you can't make the heater. That means here what we are doing, we are using three theories. One is how much heat is getting generated, how to design a resistor. The third one is how the conduction happening from the metal to the water. These are all theories we'll be using. That is what is a composite system behavior. So we have to think in these lines, how to solve. The entire engineering talks about how to build the solution with a composite system behavior. So for a taken scenario, how you are going to design this is what is a issue around that. So now key principles in any organization, basically design principles. One is understanding the business logic, what for we are doing, how we are able to sell this product. If you take same water heater solution, where I am going to sell and who needs it, what is that they do that. So what type of size is needed, how much water they have to heat it. So based on that, configuration has to be think of it. So that is the one dimension. So for that, what type of design principles I'm going to use it. Already there is a availability of solution. Are these the easy of that use of this system is easy, or is it complex? And if it is failure, how to detect it, how to recover it, and how to reconfigure it. That means how to manage for the requirements of the things. So these are all various dimensions at which we have to look into it when we are talking about a key principles of the design of the systems. Now, that what is that education system need to drive? So I believe education system need to drive aspirations. That means whether I have aspirations to do certain things, as initially I talked about purpose, whether I want to do something, that aspiration is there in me. If I don't have aspiration, I may be going to be a routine engineer or something. I'm going to do the job as a routine job like a worker. But unless you don't have aspiration to achieve certain things, you may not be able to do the things. That means how people get aspirate. That means technology strengths in there and its disruptions, what is happening, we need to understand what is that value through this, through the business. That means what is that going to create value. That means by using new technology, how much create that, say, value to the customer, or the end of the day, how I can improve the GDP of our nation or the area and all that. And what is that social behavior because of this entire dimensions. All this has to be looked into it, that aspirations clear. So understanding the global challenges. Today, what are the global challenges? Today we have corona impact, and then global warming and health dimensions. All this, how we can improve in a broader to the social dimensions, to the directions. That's what should be the aspiration needs to be drive. So drive by activity, teaching and learning methods. This entire driven by active teaching and learning methods is need to be put. Unfortunately, I believe in Indian teaching learning process, this particular dimension is missing. So are we exposed to aspect? The exposure to the world also is more important. Exposure to the global happenings will help in understanding where we are and what we know and what is our skills, knowledge required for future. All that we will be able to know when you are able to get exposure to the world. My luck or whatever that I am doing from last 20 years is I go around the world and see various trade fairs, and I attend a lot of seminars and webinars and all these type of things. And I read a lot about the technology or its impacts and all that. Because of that, what happens is my knowledge around the things, what is present knowledge is known to me. That's what is a more important dimensions. Stepping outside of our comfort zone. All of us in comfort zone. That means I am getting some money. I need not much put my pressure on my mind. Why should I look into that? Okay, anyhow, I am all right. So that is all comfort zone. So another is reorient our aspirations. Today, our aspiration is something, but already somebody achieved that. Whether I can look into the newer aspirations and what is that new dimensions now, we can work on that. So reorienting the aspirations and gain that much need edge over the others. That means all business is a competition. In competition, we have to have a much more better dimension than other people. Even as an engineer also, if you want to be successful, you need to have a higher capability than your competitor, that is your colleague, then only you will be able to be more successful. That is where gaining that much edge over the others is most important. These are all what should be the aspirational side. So another is a growth mindset. Are well suited to digital business. This is where our growth mindset. Today, entire business is digital business. I will talk about that little later. What is the growth mindset? Well suited for. That is intelligence and talent can be learned. That means I can learn and I want to achieve more. Continuous transformation, change for a digital business. That means do you want to improve my thing continuously? That means today I am something, I want to achieve something much, much higher. That is most important. For that, what is needed is teamwork and collaboration. High uncertainty. That means we want to work all certain areas, but we have to think how I can work in a uncertainty. That means certain area everybody works. That means I know this, it will happen like that. But today, Corona is highly uncertain. We doesn't know what is going to happen. So how many people are getting affected? How many people is going to die? Or what if things happens to the businesses? What is going to happen? A lot of uncertainties. Are we comfortable working with uncertainties? Are we taking that as a challenge and start working on that? Are we are afraid of that? So for that, you need to have innovation, creativity, and risk-taking abilities. That is the most important for the growth mindset. The other opposite is a fixed mindset. That is a innate abilities are set. That means individual mastery, known about only familiar solutions, problem solving using by past experience. That is these are all going to give an incremental change of the existing business. That's what is happens. This is the issues which we have to look at about ourselves. Is our culture fixed or growth mindset? So we have to look into ourselves. Are we having a fixed mindset or growth mindset? But my observation is we have a lot fixed mindset. So we doesn't want to take risk. That's where the problem is. Look into this. So always what we do is we try to work on known market and known technology. That means already there is a market is there. Again, technology is known. That means this type of products is this many number of sold, and this is how the things is happening. Even in education also, majority of the people want to join in computer science, electronics, and maybe electrical engineering, all circuit branches. People thinks that these branches has a lot of job potential. Already it is proven, so I need not do anything. So it is simply I follow that. That is a known. But if you are working on known, always there will be a lot of people enter into that. There will be a lot of competition is going to be there. When there is a lot of competition, the prices will come down, and then the survival itself is going to be bigger challenge. So if you want to be success, you have to go from a known market to the unknown technology, or otherwise known technology to the unknown market, or otherwise both unknown. Both unknown means it is a more and more say risky. That means are you having a ability to take the risk? The more you are able to take the risk, more you will be able to get into the success. So the success is, in my opinion, proportional to the risk which you take. So without risk, you cannot be successful. Whatever you do, whether you are so what are that needed for doing today's solutions? One is a technical knowledge is needed. Another is domain knowledge is needed. So what is meaning of domain knowledge and technical knowledge? So all we learn in engineering is a technical knowledge. So how the transistor works, how the computer works, how the C programming, all that stuff is a technical. Or otherwise, what is a machine learning or the artificial intelligence, all that comes into the technical knowledge. So other side, domain knowledge means, so how I use this, say for example, I talk more in a railway signaling. So how railway signals behaves and what is the challenges in railway signaling, why railway signals is needed. Similarly, how banking system works. So these are all called domains. So each domain needs domain knowledge, how they are all working. Unfortunately, in Indian education, domain knowledge is not taught. So only after coming to the industry, people try to learn the domain knowledge. But the again biggest challenge in Indian situation is people believes technical knowledge is important, but domain knowledge is not important. That's where the people jumps from one organization to another organization for sake of little money increase, only shifting from one domain to other domain. That means all that knowledge which they acquired in this domain is getting wasted. So that is where everyone has to look how domain knowledge is almost constant. That won't change much faster, but the technical knowledge is going to be much faster to update. That means new technologies is coming. So the old knowledge is, today people are not talking much about transistor, much about the analog amplifiers and all that. Today everything is digital. So that means technology is changed. Again, from that digital computer program, now we are talking about artificial intelligence, IoT, all that. So when we are talking about when there is a change, how we are able to adapt to that. So that means technology changing, but domain majority of the time has a longer life. Unless the railways is not there, domain, till that domain knowledge will remains there. So when you are trying to build a solutions, you need to have system approach. So what is that system approach? Create hypothesis and test your hypothesis and assess the situation, and again go on doing that. So this is a system approach which all of us has to take it. That is same thing will be talked in various forums in various dimensions. This is the one of the main important factors which we have to look into that. So another is let us push the thing on value creation. How to create the value? Initially also I talked about it. The first important thing is design thinking, and we need to understand the psychology of money. Why you need money? What is that? So what is the use of money? How the things is used? Why I need money? So whether I am able to understand the entire thing, or I am simply I want money, money. So this is what the psychology. That means what makes, what is the use of money? How we can use that? What is that? Why all that is money? The anatomy of money is how money is made, how the behaviors of money. That means if I invest some money on some industry or something, it will say gets return on investment. If I put my money in a bank, I will get this much interest, or otherwise the money will get depreciated. Otherwise, if I put the money in some real estate, this money will multiply by this. If I put in a stock market, this much money will become like this. How we will create and measure value. That's all. The entire world is working in a single dimension of the measurement is called money. So we have to understand the money, whoever it may be, whether you are not doing a entrepreneur also, as an engineer also, you need to understand about the money. So this is one dimension which as an entrepreneurs, I believe that you all has to learn how really money works and how money, and these are the three dimensions to create the value is near important. So here I am putting, to do all that, you need to have if you want to create a value, that means value is nothing but a results. So if you have to have a results, you need to have capabilities. So what is that capabilities which we should have? So to get a proper capabilities based on today's technology, and you need to have a different mindset. That mindset will suit to the today's technology plus our practices. Mindset plus practice into technology leads to capabilities. Capabilities leads to results. So the result is value. What is that capabilities which we need to look into it? That is what today we have has to acquire that capabilities. How to acquire that capabilities? That is again based on today's technology, not with the past technology. India has bigger challenge. We are working with a very, very old technology. That's where we are not updating the technologies to, maybe you are studying technology, but you are not converting that into capabilities to solve the problems and create value. So that is what we are going to see here. So the most important point here is mindset plus practice. This is the two important dimensions which I believe we have to look into that. So what type of mindset we should have, what type of practice, we'll try to discuss on these lines for some time. So today, we are all talking about fourth industrial revolution. What is fourth industrial revolution? The first industrial revolution, which we talked about mechanical production and the steam engines and all that, which started around 1750s and all. After that, the mass production and then electricity usage, that's all changed the world, maybe starting off the 19th century, that's around 1900 or something. And by 1970, third industrial revolution started with a automatic production and technology, communication technology, all this added into the market. The fourth one, which we are talking about, Industry 4, that is a intelligent production and the IoT. That means previously the systems are all, automatic systems are there, they are all in silos. But in a fourth industrial revolution, the systems are talking to the each systems. That's all makes it the more complex, and we'll discuss that little more today. Now, what is that happened to the global GDP? That means before even 1750, India and China used to dominate before the Industrial Revolution 1, because these two countries are the great countries which contributed to the world GDP. But what has happened afterwards? Around 1750, around that, when the first Industrial Revolution started, Europe started picking, India started dipping, and afterwards China also started dipping. And by second Industrial Revolution, the US also started raising, Europe raised, and then automatically China and India dropped. By the time 1950s or so, both GDPs are gone down to as low as 3% of the world GDP. Both use it to dominate more than 50 together. So what has happened? India, Europe and America grown, and India dropped, and in between around 1970, again China started adopting the new technologies, but India still, we are not able to adopt the technologies. That's where our GDPs are all not increasing. Now this is first industrial revolution, second, third, and fourth industrial revolution. Now what is today which we are all talking about? We are all talking about digital business. That means physical things also started doing business. That means in a business, we have a people, another is the technology, that is a business and people. Previously, the business is happening between these two. Now the things also started doing business. What is meaning of things started doing business is a generator in our factory or in our university. If we have a level sensor of the diesel, automatically when the level sensor identify the level of the diesel is less, automatically it asks for a request sent to the petrol bunk. They will send the diesel. Automatically when the diesel level increase, how much diesel is filled, if the bill and both are matching, automatically that payment will be done. So that means the things, that is a diesel generator is doing the business, not only people is doing the business. That means there is a business between people and the things and the business organizations. So that is what is a digital business. Today, everything is becoming digital business. So though this Industry 4, these are all going to be system of systems. Systems are connected to the other systems. That means the previously, when they are all isolated, people will be taking the information from one system to the another system. People are carriers of the systems and entering the data or the asking other system to work as per the requirements. But today, systems are talking to each system. They are able to make everything automate. So this is what is really the biggest challenging solution and the major change happening in the world. This is the fourth industrial revolution. So in that, it is going to be highly disruptive. It is going to change the world multidimensionally and highly complex and very dynamic, very quick. That means the information passes less than a second also. That means previously when we are taking information from one system to the other system, we had to put a lot of effort to get that data and put into this system, and then this system will operate. The cycles are going to be more than days, but whereas now the things is happening in a seconds. So this makes huge difference in the entire dimension of the things. That's what fourth industrial revolution is happening. So there all systems are interconnected, and you will be operating from remotely or taking the things remotely. Even today in the corona dimensions also, we are able to do a lot of things much better because of we have technologies, this type of Zoom technologies and various technologies available affordably. Because of that, we are able to solve the problems more effectively. This is what is the technology impact of the things. Now we'll see what is the four technological forces which are working today. One is social media. All of us know like Facebook or these type of Zoom technologies or WhatsApp, all that, they are all coming as a social media. The social media is making a huge impact in communicating the people. That's one of the major drivers in the economy. The second major driver is a mobile technology. So all this, we are all using extensively mobile technology. All this Internet of Things, the social media, all that is more successful because of the mobile technology, whether it is a smartphones or the tablets and all that. The other is analytics. So analytics, you might not have heard about it. Maybe you might be knowing little, but I will talk about analytics little later, more in depth. So then other things is cloud technology. All the things is common servers and common things. Because of that, the entire IT technologies become a more cost effective, and you need not have servers. That means everybody gets the email or any of the things like WhatsApp or all these technologies works on cloud. So these are the 4 technologies already driving in the world the entire economy. So these are all things which we have to consider when we are trying to build any solutions. This is one dimension. The second dimension is these are the 3-4 new technologies, or the future technologies, or which are started technologies. First thing is Internet of Things. So what is Internet of Things? Internet of Things, everybody thinks by connecting some sensor to the computer is Internet of Things. No. In Internet of Things, we have 4 parts. First part is sense. Second part is communicate. The third part is analyze. The fourth part is act. Sense, communicate, analyze, act. That means if you don't take that 4 into the consideration, that is not Internet of Things. So that is what is again one of the dimensions at which new technologies is working. The second one is AI, machine learning and deep learning. Maybe some of you are seeing here and there about the technologies, but how to use the technologies, now there's a bigger challenge. But unfortunately, very few people in the world is really able to make use of these technologies. That is evolving how to connect this to the domain to get the more value. So that's where really the crux of the problem. So that is what is going to drive in the coming years. Once this AI and machine learning, all that comes into the things, that's going to be highly revolutionize the system. The other, as I said, the cloud is as it is again going to dominate, and cloud is going to be the master of all that. The fourth thing is digital twins. So this is another thing. Every system is physically or the cyberly put into the computer, simulate entire thing. After simulating all that with the physical system, through IoT, you take the data into the physical cyber system and compare that. Wherever there is unexpected things are happening, we'll be able to identify the mistakes and all that. That is what is a digital twin. I will talk if I have little time on the digital twin, otherwise I will skip that. So what is the bigger picture of this IoT? That is a 25 billion connected things by this year. This is what is today. So all these areas which I am showing, they're all billion. That means in entire world, we have 7.5 billion people are there. The connected things are going to be 25 billion, 3 times more than the people already getting connected. The second thing is, so this corona is now driving the things much faster. What according to some of the analysts across the world, they say, previously whatever is expected, the speed, that is going to increase the speed by 5 more years much early because of the social distancing and the problem of moving here and there. This is all driving everybody to invest in the IoT. It's going to make a lot of change in the entire system. So it is going to be fast and quickly it is going to deliver and improve that. In between, I will talk today, everybody talks smart. So what is smart? A simple illustration. So you know, if you want to put a water to the tree or the field, you use a manual switch to switch on the motor. The second is you'll go to the remote. That means remotely you'll be switching on that. The third one is you'll be having an intelligent. That means you have a soil moisture sensor. If soil moisture is low, then automatically, intelligently, you'll be switching on the motor. The fourth one is smart. What is meaning smart is, this is a system, basically what we talked about, intelligence system. Now, this system is going to talk to the weather forecasting station, and if the weather is not going, they are not going to be rain tomorrow, it will switch on the motor. If it's going to rain tomorrow, doesn't going to switch on the motor, because anyhow the water is going to come from a rain. So this is what is meaning of the smart. That means it is a system of systems. That is what is a smart system. So this is one of the concept all of us has to remember that. Now let us go into the what is our mindset and what is that. I talked about technology in the previous slide. Initially what I said, mindset plus practice into technology gives the capabilities, capabilities will give the results. So what is that towards the mindset, which I'm going to talk a little more here. Every industrial revolution needs change. We can't work with how our parents, our grandparents works. So all of us will train the people to work in the past, not for the future. That's where we have to understand that. All our behaviors and attitudes is based on our parental or grandparental or the teachers or the all elders behaviors or the training. So that is behaviors and attitudes has to be revolutionary change based on the change in the industrial revolution. That is most important dimension which all of us has to look into that. Second is what type of processes and practices which we are using. The third, what I said, technology. All these three need to be changing. That means technology is changing, need to be changing the processes, need to be change our behaviors and attitudes. This is what is a important dimensions. In role of digital era, you need to have some base research is needed. You need to look into the solution design, and the solution design need to be implementation, and then it to be configured and maintained and use. All these 5 steps is needed in order to get realize the value for the customer. So this is going to be a new dimension than the previous one. Golden days, we all able to make something, what is called, I make some product and sell it. Well, how you use it, I am not bothered about. But today, you need to develop the solution and make them to use it. The very, very different dimension. Unless they don't use it, you cannot get more out of it. That's value doesn't come out of it. So this is a most important dimension which we have to look into that. So look into that. I'm not going to talk 1 minute. Just listen, read. All of you, I think you are able to see that. Please listen, see what is there on that screen. I will leave 1 minute. Hello. I hope all of you read that. I need not explain anything. This is what is the dimension of communication. So taking that further, here you see what is happening. So the person is saying that there is a 1500 kg mass is approaching your head at 45.3 meters per second. Is it that is a communication? What is that which we have to say is, look out. Otherwise, by the time he understands all that, that is going to fall on him. So this is how the communication should be. So there should be meaningful communication. This is what is today most important dimension, which I believe we have to start looking into that dimension. So today, what is that Internet of Things? A bigger picture, which I want to put it in front of you. We have physical parameters that need to be converted into various physical parameters and understand that and use the sensors to digitize that. That is using signal processing and digitizing it. And then next, using ARM processors or some process to data acquisition, and then communication technologies, wired, wireless, and various things. And then web technologies and all this data into the servers, and then take all that with a storage, and then mobile technologies, control, all this. This is what is it today, IoT technologies, which all of us has to learn to be in successful. This is the key technology. Maybe some of you are master in certain areas, but at the end of the day, we have to have a good picture about what exactly is happening on IoT. So this is what it is. Now let us look into the, in IoT, which I said is a second dimension is how you analyze that. So analysis is a very, very important. That means what we said, sense, communicate, analyze, and act. So what is meaning of, hello? Hello? Hello?
You're audible, sir. You're okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So if you see this slide, you have a data and we need to take decision and action. Data to decision to action is the most important. So what is that analytics which is going to work with that? So are you able to see the data more effectively by through the graphs and all? Through that, we'll be able to understand what happened. If you understand what has happened, that is called a descriptive analytics. With that, use your human input. Sorry, am I audible? Yeah. So what is happening? With that, you'll be use your brain and take decision and then take action. The second dimension is diagnostic. Why did it happen? What science talk about cause and effect. What is the cause and what is its effect? So here we can apply the machine learning and deep learning and AI, understand what is the cause and effect. With that, you will be able to take a better decision. That is, a light green indicates less human input than the previous one. So you'll be able to take a better decision and the action. Second is predictive. What will happen? That means you'll be able to predict if I take this decision. So with that, you'll be able to do the better decision. That means simple example is, if I had to go from here, from my home to the airport, so what is the best route? What is going to happen when I start here? How much time it is going to take? Google is telling me it takes 35 minutes. That means I have to start 35 minutes before. So that makes predictive. That means that my decision is going to be more accurate and more effective. So the last one is prescriptive. Suppose if I want to go from one place to another place, if I say to the Google, it will give entire route. That means it is giving a total decision support system. I need not know what road I have to take and all that. It is telling me you take the left, right, like that. And finally, it is taking me to the decision. Suppose same thing you connect it to the driverless car. The car is autonomously taking you to the final thing, that's a action. So this is what is the analytics all about it. So most important is, if you want to really create value, you need to understand analytics well. So this is a most important dimension. All of us has to learn how to use analytics. This is all the crux of the problem. IoT sensing, it's very easy. Once you learn something about tricks, you can learn the sense. Communication also, a lot of gadgets are there. Communicating is very easy. Analysis is the toughest job. You need to learn how to analyze it. Act is again simplest job. So all of us has to learn how to analyze the data and take the better decision. So I will give you a simple example which you can understand very easily. In our say canteen, we have put the buttons for each item which we serve, for a solid, bad, good, average, something like that. So we have all that buttons. Whoever feels whatever they like it, they get just after taking a lunch, they press that. Once they press it, the entire data stores into the database. We apply that on that analytics. After applying the analytics, we'll be able to see this slide. So you see what is happening here. If you see in this side, here we have various items. What is the satisfaction levels of various people? By seeing this, what our manager or whoever is continuing managing that, he has to see how to improve the curry, how to improve the fry. So this, if he improves all these 2-3 things, the overall improvement is going to be much better. So with that, whether the things is improving regularly or what exactly is happening, whether it is happening every day, every week, what is happening, or because there may be changes in the things, how really, which shift, what is happening, how many people are giving feedback. With all this information, if I have to say review with the manager, I can complete my review in 1 minute. He knows what I am going to ask, and he comes with a strategy how to improve his curry and fry. If I like the strategy, I will say go ahead. If I didn't like the strategy, I will say you work other strategy, or otherwise if I have a strategy, I will tell you do like this. That's it. It's all completes in 1 minute. Otherwise, previously it used to take half an hour. We used to scold, he doesn't agree, and I don't have clue, he don't have clue. This is all what used to happen. So this is what is making the satisfaction improvement, what need to be addressed, and is it problematic in particular day? Like that, we'll be able to do the things. So similarly, I will put one more example. So we have a data of 2 places around 200 kilometers distance. What is the accidents happening in that area. We fed all that data of something like 7 years data into the analytics. So all of you are able to see how the accident's happening, where that accident happening. So this data is able to help me to analyze that. So where is that accident is happening? So first thing is what happening. That means what are the vehicles involved? Lorries and cars and some of them unknown bikes. These are the things involved. How it is happening? Collision, brushing, rear end collision. This is a 4-lane road or 6-lane road. Because of that, collision, brushing and rear end and head-on collisions are very few. So next is when it is happening, what time it is happening. The next is where it is happening. So by knowing these dimensions, one can take the right decisions. With this, they are able to reduce the accidents. So this is how the things is happening. So for all that, you need to learn some of the things like Power BI and Grafana. These are the tools I suggest. Irrespective of what the branch you are, all the people should learn how to use it, even irrespective of the engineering. Even if you are non-engineering also, I suggest you should learn how to do that. So this is the most important part. For that, ultimate goal is to become a data-driven decisions. That is we need to look ability to read and write and communicate data in context. For this context, what type of activity I have to do, how I have to do it, that is a contextual dimension. We have to understand the data, and that contextual data only we should put in the screen, understand the data sources, where they are coming, and how to analyze that methods and techniques. To ability to describe the use case for particular purpose, what is that value which we want to take, that means what type of decision we want to take it. For that, what type of graphs we should put it, all that has to be made. That is what is a crux. Otherwise, the people can put the graphs here and there and without relevance. That doesn't help me to take the decisions. So you have to learn that. So with all that, we are going to create a trust to the consumer or anybody basically. Trust is a function of results, predictability to the context and visibility. So every trust is based on the context, not for the entire thing. So if somebody is good in something, to that context, whether he is able to give the result or not, whether his predictability is good or not. That means if I am maybe do right now, better now, but it is not possible that I may not be doing better in the future, because if I am not learning the future technologies, I may not be able to do well. So this all is the dimensions. So we have to create trust into the stakeholders to be successful in the improve the things. So this is what is a trust dimension. So these are all some of the technologies which we have to, I put everything for a system of systems, identifying the value through design thinking, apply all these technologies and create a continuous delivery of customer value. This is what is the most important. I'm not taking more time on this because we have limited time. Maybe you can, I will leave it for a few seconds. You can glance it. If needed, I will take after some time, maybe on digital technologies or the industry for some more webinar. So what are the key challenges today? One is Gen X and millennials. That means old people, that means people like us, we are all filtered. When we are filtered means in my 6th class, we are around 180 people. By the time we reach to the 10th class, we are only 20 people. Only 3 people joined into, 5-6 people joined into the intermediate, and only few did a degree. Maybe I am alone, the person did a BTech from our village, 2-3 years this side and that side. That means we are all filtered. But today, everybody is getting into the higher education, and thanks to the various schemes of the governments and all. But unfortunately, again, the quality of education and standards is a bigger challenge, because we want to have a more quantity than quality. This is what is a mere change. That's one dimension. Another is a no change in curriculum. Curriculum is most important, because the technology is changing very rapidly. We need to build a curriculum that much rapidly. The second problem is attention of span of the young boys or kids is a very, very less. Even my granddaughter, she is 3 years old, she want to see on a this video on this and then she herself will change very rapidly. If she didn't like it, even she'll change herself within a few seconds. If she likes it, she will immerse into it. That means their attention on the things which is not liking is very, very less. And whereas olden days, we have a lot of patience. We used to sit like that for hours together. If it is boring also, this type of things is totally different in that. So the most important is, let us all adapt to the new technology, sustain and grow. This is what is a very, very important. We have to adapt new technologies and we need to sustain and grow. That's the take point which I thought I share with you. Thank you for listening to me from a more than an hour. If you want to have any of your thoughts, or you want to have some conversation, I ask say organizers to take the things.
To all the participants, thank you, sir. If any participants, if there is any questions, please put in the Q&A session, put your questions so that our expert can explain your queries. There is a Q&A section is there. You put your questions there. Our expert will reply to your queries and doubts.
Yeah, there is one question. How could your value be enhanced to products using technology? Kindly explain in layman's language. In a simple term, suppose I don't have WhatsApp and I don't have a, say for example, in any of that conversation, this thing, I can only chance to use a phone. That means when I'm calling somebody, other fellow has, if he's on other call or other work, he has to come out of that and do the work. And again, same thing happens if he, by the time he is not lifting my phone, again I lift the, he stopped taking the phone. After that, he does that. So in the conversation, both of us will lose the time. But whereas if you are trying to use the WhatsApp type technology, whenever I push my message and he sees that, whenever he is free, he will be able to send the reply. Again, when I am free, I am able. That means both of are all able to use this technology in a more effective way, so that both the times will be saved. That is, I hope, maybe the best I can think of that in a layman language. How this pandemic will affect the northeastern states of India, how to boost the economy, or to be specific, how we can do the strategy of destination image building or northeastern India. Sorry, I am totally in a south of India. I have very, very little knowledge about the area, because unfortunately, though I visited a lot of areas, I don't have a chance to visit the northeastern. Only I am able to see everything only through the news and with the friends, whatever they are able to talk to me. Of course, most important thing is anywhere to be successful, we need to create value. So the value should be comparable. The competition is global today. With why India still we are able to make furnitures and all, still we are getting from China is because that is cheap. That means they are able to make a high quality furniture at lower cost. So that means we to be competitive in doing any of the things. So how to create a capabilities in creating a value anywhere, that is the culture which we have to build it, rather than, okay, freebies and all that anywhere, even in Andhra also we have a lot of freebies, but that doesn't work in a longer run. We have to create competitiveness of the people, expose them and create a more aspiration to the people and educate the people, and how the better part of the world like America or Europe works. We have to expose them. I have one challenge I will share, take little time. I am a chairman of one of the ITI, somewhere in a global, say remote in Andhra Pradesh. That is more of a, what is called backward area. And I have a challenge to bring the students to the class and train them. Whenever there is a agriculture work is there, all the students goes to the agriculture work. Then what I did is, I took all them in a few buses and bring it to our village, our town, and showed the various companies and how these companies is working, how the lifestyle of the people here, and how clean it is, and how air conditioned, all that. By showing this, I told them, if you are able to learn well, you can aspire this type of life. From that point of onwards, they started being in touch with me and asking if the teacher is not teaching well. They used to tell me, and they started learning, and they get into the more aspiration. The aspiration is one thing which I feel we have to create to all the people. The next one is how law firm legal professionals use AI for resource sharing internally, as they are not interested to do public their resources. Sorry, I am not having any exposure about the legal this thing. I am more in IoT and applying the technologies, especially railway and industrial IoT and even smart cities. Sorry, I may not be able to say any word on that. How much value can be added to the organic agriculture enterprises? How can government support to overcome this risk associated? Of course, agriculture is a little difficult dimension in Indian context, because of the dimension is we are using a lot of pesticides. How to reduce the pesticides, how to make say organic dimensions is a bigger challenge, because even some 15-20 years back, we studied some of the agriculture farms in because I came from agriculture background. If you have to really add value, we should be organic. So to make organic, at least 100 acres should be in one this thing. On periphery, you should not use again pesticides. Periphery uses pesticides also, that should not affect this. So this is the dimension at which the things is. But really, how far we can use the technology in agriculture, how much value we'll be able to bring it. First thing is, yesterday also I'm talking to our chief minister. We didn't have simple tools to take the material from one place to other place. Still, we carry that on our heads and back, even 75 kgs, say bags and all. So whether we can make some small trolleys and how to cut the fruits, and a lot of tools can be made. First thing, before talking about IT technologies and all, that's where I believe there can be a lot of possibilities to improve on that area. What is the opportunities to our economy in a pandemic situation? This is a very million-dollar question. Now we are talking almost every day, a lot of meetings. Nobody is able to talk very clear this thing. One thing is going to be sure, that some companies will have a bigger challenge. Somebody will make more opportunity in this direction. But all of us has to be resilience and change our way of living and change way of working and develop new products and solutions. That's where my thought process of creating value, this can give you some direction if you start working on this area. But this is one thing which, could you elaborate more about digital twin? Digital twin, suppose you take a automobile engine. The engine is simulated mathematically in a computer, and simultaneously with IoT devices, sensors, we'll be able to take the entire data and see, as per the cause and effect of the, suppose if I give throttle, whether really the torque is increasing, how much torque is increasing, all that will be real time analyzed with the data. That is what is a digital twin. With that, we'll be able to understand what is the cause and effect, how really happening in a more granular manner. With that, we'll be able to improve our efficiency of operation. At what speed my, say, for example, fuel efficiency is good, and what conditions that is good, what type of design changes we can bring it to make more efficient, all that we can do it. Do this university conduct such webinars every year? That maybe university people has to say. Present COVID situation is good for investment? No, it is not good for instant. How and from where we can learn from about Grafana? You can try on the things, or maybe type Grafana and then look into that. Maybe if you have some difficulties, I can ask, connect to our people. I can connect to our people who are using the Grafana, and they can help you. Meeting, sir, whether smart technologies will make monotonous decisions. No. If you are fixed with the same thing, it is yes. But when you are able to improve the analytics and improve the machine learning and deep learnings, it is going to continuous improvement happens. And I believe that value increases much rapidly. As for the Gartner, the value increases at least 400 times by implementing this Industry 4 technologies. How do you see future technologies in education? Education has to look a little different. Maybe talking all concepts and all can be listened through the webinars or whatever, maybe videos by YouTube or any of the things, or the recorded videos and all. But doubts clearance has to be done by the teachers, and then teachers has to ask them to experiment it and guide them to experiment it. After experiment it, what they learn and how they learn has to be looked into it. So unless we don't do activity, in my opinion, learning is not getting completed. So we need to look into that dimensions, and activity-based learning is very important to get the concept. No more mugging and remembrance and will not help. Do you think Indian education leveraging technology enough as compared to the countries like China? Do you think we are real challenges to Chinese technologically? Of course, my belief is we are not really using a technology compared to any of the countries. But I believe Europe is using much effectively. In China, even America is using more effectively. Israel is using more effectively. Even China started doing that. China don't have great technology, but still they are aspiring to do it. South Korea is another area where there is a lot of technologies getting implemented. Why India lagging behind the contributing to world GDP? Under what circumstances China has exceeded in this contribution? How India can overcome decline in contributing world GDP? My belief is somehow we are all fixed mindset. Nobody even believes that wealth creation is important for the nation building. People, when I am young, people use it to go on criticizing Birlas and Tatas. They are the looters of this society. Like that, they use it to train all our young people. So because of that, we don't have respect to the wealth creation. The people talks about all only bad about the entrepreneurs and all. What the good they are doing and how best they are doing to the society and how to create what the GDP they are creating, they never talked about it. That has to be really has to be made so that young generation should feel that I should be entrepreneur or I should create value to the society. I catch you in another webinar. Thank you.
Dr. Madina, you have anything from your side?
Just a small question regarding design thinking. So you have been talking a lot about design thinking.
Yeah.
Most of the panelists may not know the process of design thinking. Yeah. So can you in a very small maybe 1 or 2 sentences, can you just explain to us what is design thinking?
Yeah. So basically design thinking has 5 steps. First is identifying the needs. Suppose you take any of the scenario, what are the needs of that scenario? So go on listing all that scenarios and one by one. Maybe you go on writing hundreds of needs. Whoever talks, maybe you can ask various people or you can use your brain or talk to the various users and go on writing all that in a list. Once you write all that list of needs, then you define that. Define means what is that? All the similar things we put it to one side. So this is similar, this is similar, this is similar, this is dissimilar, and this is it going to be more useful or less useful? All that when you are making a define, first you capture all that and then you define that this is all what is needed. Then afterwards, how to solve this problem, ideate that. Once after ideating the solution, then you make a prototype of that and test all that, whether that needs is fulfilled or not. That is what is a design thinking.
Okay, sir.
Sir, I have a one. Sir, I have a one query.
Sure, sure, sure.
As we know that suddenly, as you have been working with the IoT, smart cities, and the smart industries, and all those things like that, also smart signaling.
Yeah.
Sir, presently, what we are facing with the, you have also talking. We are talking about the digital era also.
Yeah.
Right now, as we go to the digital education things.
Yeah.
We particularly in the India and the many remote places, we are facing lots of issues are there,
Yeah.
right? So any solutions which from the IoTs and all those things like that, any solution which it can be little cope up with this situation of the presently also suddenly due to the this COVID-19, suddenly all the education system changed to the digital education systems.
Yeah.
So because of that one, the many the remote places are facing. So what the IoT can do, that if you can take up some, give some solutions, any idea on this one?
Yeah, for example, you think of a electric motor testing experiment. So you want to, somebody want to test remotely that experiment.
Yes,
so
sir, yes.
Maybe you can have a controls from the remotely and then see the readings also remotely. He can go on managing the entire thing remotely. Only thing is somebody has to help him to do some connections, whatever he wants, if it is a major changes. Otherwise, he can do the experiment remotely. Or otherwise, same thing if you are talking about a IC engine also. So somebody can observe all the parameters remotely, even observe the things with the camera. Other side, you can see all the readings, temperature or the rise in temperature, rise in torque, rise in speed. All that they can see on his graph remotely and operate also remotely. He can do the experiments remotely. This is all the new dimensions. I hope the common labs may emerge in the coming days, which can build any experiments can be done remotely. Even now, all say anything we want to work in our factory also. Now, majority of the software and firmware engineers working from remotely from their house. But somebody is helping here. They will be able to do they will download the code into the target system remotely and see how that's working in the system and how the outcomes is coming. They are able to do something, but there is a long way to go. There is a lot of possibilities to improve in that.
Okay, sir.
That is one of the opportunity in my opinion.
Yes, sir. This is particularly for the lab-based, experiment-based is one of the challenges to us. Sir, one more, this one. Many of our participants are asking about the slides. Sir, can we this make it available in public in our Mizoram University YouTube system?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Whatever I spoke, you can put directly into the YouTube. I don't mind. And if you want slides, I will see, is there any slide which I am using some other company's slide is there. I will edit that slides and send it to you.
Okay, sir.
Majority of them are our slides. Only few of them I used Gartner slides and all. I have to take permission when I am sharing that. I will take that and send it.
Okay, sir. This video will also be sufficient. Only with your permission, only we can upload in our.
Of course, video you can always put it. No problem. Absolutely no problem. Because slide is somebody may use it in his presentation. That's where there is a problem.
Right, sir. Video we will upload.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Grateful for your kindness. And kindly in future, we help our students and any of our dearest incubators, try to help them and in electronics and communication in areas, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sure. Thank you, Samson.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope all are well and there is no
Yes, sir,
issues.
it is well appreciated, sir. Around 180 participants are there, and everyone is writing in the chat box. They are very much happy about your presentation and very well received by all the participants, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Please tell me. Sir, there is one announcement is that the participants are asking for the feedback. So all the feedbacks will be, you will get the feedback form once you log out from the after this seminar. So you will get the feedback form. And about your e-certificate, I have already in the group chat also, I have already sent those who are interested the certificate, you please make an email to us, and accordingly we will send to you the e-certificate within 2 or 3 days, like that. So those who are interested, please do email to the email which I have given. So you can. So we will send it within 2 or 3 days, like that. Thank you. Thank you very much to all the experts and all the participants, and lots of the good queries and lots of appreciations from all the participants. Thank you very much to all of you.